Hey guys, PBJ here. Yeah, like I said, go see my stuff on YouTube. Please, guys, share my stuff, get it out there. You know, drive people to my site. It's been a busy week, and yeah, where do we start? Tucker Carlson is having on Nick Fuentes, but people are freaking out about it. But since what the guy's had on the fucking head of Iran, the president of Iran, the Prime Minister of Qatar, the nun with the moustache. I mean, this is just a drop in the ocean for having Nick Fuentes on. So, less said about that, but let's just call him what he is. Tucker Carlson's anti Semitic, he hates Israel and he hates Jews. Let's just be honest about it. And he's got a double standard for Israel, so that's, okay. Um, Andrew Schultz, comedian from New York, played in Riyadh, loves taking Saudi money and sucking Saudi dick, had on Zoran Mandani, the future Muslim mayor or future Muslim Sultan of New York City. Didn't see it. I don't particularly watch Andrew Schultz. I think he's quite a funny guy, but I'm not. Yeah, he's got this podcast with a couple, and his sidekick is this Asian guy. Like an Asian Robin Quivers for Howard Stern, an Asian Robin Quivers for Andrew Schultz, and they shot the shit with Mandani and whatever. But that's not what I want to talk about. Steven Crowder last night on his show talked about I think Trump went to Japan, okay? And the title of his video was Why Japan is More of an Ally Than Israel. Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm tired of trying to justify the relationship between Israel and America. I think people know or don't understand. But okay, and it's fine if you think Japan is somehow better ally for you than Israel. I'm thinking to myself, well, given the fact that Israel never asks America to fight wars for them, contrary to what these jerk-offs on the right are saying that they got them into Iraq. No, you got yourselves into Iraq, okay? You got yourselves into Vietnam, you got yourselves into Afghanistan, and you left your surplus of weapons in the hands of the Taliban. That's what you did, not Israel. Okay? He listed reasons why that Japan is more of an ally. They have 60,000 American troops stationed in Japan. Apparently it's a good thing. Okay? Because I thought Americans didn't want the guys abroad. But apparently in Japan, it's okay. And that's fine. I mean, I don't care. Israel doesn't have an American base on their soil for good reason. They do have they've put up some kind of little command center. There are some American people there, but their influences should be very limited. I would hope that Israel will not allow them to interfere with their military decisions. Yeah, I have to push back against this, but I've noticed Steven Crowder and his sidekick, I can't remember his name, Gerald someone or other, have, I think maybe because they're afraid that they would come off as pro-Israel and they want to be America first. Everything concerning America is more important. And I get that totally, of course. I mean, it's your country. You voted for this guy and you want to defend him to the bitter end. I get it. But the Americans interfere in other people, certainly when it comes to Israel, they feel that they have a right to interfere in Israel's decisions and kneecap Israel before they're about to get victory. This happens all the time. No wonder why this is why this has gone on so long in the Middle East. since 67. Because the Americans continue to kneecap and interfere in Israel's military decisions, threaten them with embargoes and all kinds. This is what America does. That's not an ally. Allies don't do that. And of course, Israel is now seeking more independence. Please, God, do that. In fact, cut it all off. Israel needs to win. This is about survival. Okay. But of course, Japan is apparently... His claims were they're close to China. They are economic powerhouse. They are. Not as much as they used to be. And they certainly, when it comes to Israel, they do have a bigger GDP, but Israel has bigger GDP. Sorry, Israel has a bigger GDP per capita, and which is significant. But obviously, the Japanese economy is bigger than Israel's because there's a shitload more Japanese people. So hang on. But in terms of technologies, that Japan used to be quite ahead of its time. There's not so much anymore, and in fact, Israel you could say has taken over that role, certainly in technology, certainly in medicine, certainly in all these things, which it provides to the world. Okay, but there's one thing that you could argue against all that. You could argue against, Japan is technology. Japan is a powerhouse. Japan is our biggest trading partner. Okay, fine. There's one thing that Japan doesn't have that Israel has, and I believe should use this leverage against the Americans when they start pulling stunts like starting peace deals when there is no actual peace deal, or kneecapping Israel when it's about to get victory. Intelligence. I'm sorry, but Japan is negligible in comparison to what Israel gives the Americans and the rest of the West in intelligence. They are in the heart of the sea of totalitarianism. They have the best intelligence organization in the world. And this is not me saying it. These are people that study this stuff for a living. They are at the forefront of these technologies. They use all kinds of things. Their operations are almost perfect. And when they do an operation, they do it well. Even their enemies respect them. But of course they make mistakes. I mean, they're human beings, but it's very few. And they can't afford to make mistakes because of the geographical location of Israel. So they have to be at the top of their game. But that's what Israel provides, which is most significant to the Americans. Okay. Now, China, he mentioned China in his little whatever. I'm going to do a video with the actual video that he did, and really, I just want to debunk everything he says. The Chinese are wanting to become a world power, the superpower. And of course, we don't want that. But in terms of terrorism, in terms of attacks on people, and clear and present danger, China is not at all in that category. I think America should fight China on trade and become more dominant on that. I'm all for that. I don't have a problem with that at all. But if you're going to say that Japan is somehow your best ally because they host your soldiers, because what was the other thing? I have to do the video. Okay, but basically said they are more of an ally than we get more out of Japan than Israel. No, you don't. No, you don't. In terms, let's just do intelligence. America gets significant intelligence more than any other country in the world, in the Western world. The intelligence that Israel gives America saves lives. Not just America, Canada, Britain, Europe. And by the way, is there something pattern going on here in these places? They all want to undercut Israel. All of these countries I just mentioned, including the USA to a certain degree, want to this problem go, stop with your wars and stuff. Wars that Israel never started. There's not one war that Israel has started. It's all been defense. But in terms of intelligence alone, Israel gives way above its weight, meaning it gives more than any other country, has protected and saved lives in the United States, even of their enemies that hate them. This is why I say, Israel's a better country than the US. And why I say this is because Israel not just does things because it's something they can get out of it. I'm sure that there are things they have their interests. Their main interest is to survive, is to stay safe, because they're in a very hostile area. That's their main goal. I get that. But even with all the hatred, even with all the nastiness that has come out of America, and even from Trump, in blusterous ways, and I think the Israelis who are confident in who they are don't get offended that easily. And Vance basically standing on Israeli soil and talking about the Knesset as some can have their little vote there, the little Knesset, we will not allow them. First of all, no, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice, Vance, because Israel's a sovereign nation. They will decide what happens in their own country, on their own land. Not you and not Donald Trump. And if you try to do that, I would point you to former administrations that did try it, and their tenure didn't go too well for them. Not because Israel did anything, it's just there seems to be, when you turn against Israel, it doesn't go well for these people. But that being said, intelligence is incredibly strong that Israel gives Americans and keeps them safe. If Israel had to take that away, I don't know. It's worth more than any bomb or any gun or any bullets or any stuff America gives to intelligence, which gives you the edge. And by the way, Israel buys the weapons. There's no giving Israel a blank check. This is a cooperation. The money that is given to Israel goes straight back into the American economy. Some people say, they buy a few weapons. No, your money, okay? I love the way I think it's their money. Their money goes, okay, so Israel has credit, they buy the weapons in America, it goes straight back. It's extremely lucrative to the United States. Israel gets nothing back. They get weapons that they have to pay for, and they test it out in battle, because the Americans aren't fighting a war permanently. Their armies they're around, but they're not involved in any current conflict. So Israel tests the weapons in actual war. They improve on these weapons. I'll give you an example. The F-35. Israel took it from the Americans and obviously asked permission, and for some reason the Americans allowed them, and because they know the Israelis are good at these things. And what did they do? They made this thing even better than what the Americans designed. So now, Israel is sitting with the most sophisticated F-35s in the world. Okay? Iron Dome system. Oh, by the way, apparently it's not Israel that invented the laser system. This incredible beam of light that takes out missiles, not just drones, missiles. Apparently it's been invented by Australia. I just saw a thing today. Australian technology. But I said, but that looks a hell of a lot like the one that Israel did. Rafael. Is Australia taking credit for Israeli inventions now? Australia, when's the last time they ever fought a conflict? Australia, that's running around. Your Jewish community's synagogues are being burnt down. That Australia, right? You invented a laser beam or something, and I'm like, does Australia steal technology from Israel? By the way, they one can't shoot down rockets. Israel can, and it costs next to nothing. But is Australia taking credit for it? Really? They have the Iron Dome system. Like Israel, Trump's going on about the Golden Dome. I'm going to cover the whole United States with the Golden Dome because we invented it. And there you go. Let's not mention Israel's the one who actually designed and built this goddamn thing. No, it's the Americans because you've got them in. I mean, it's just extremely annoying. Israel invented the Iron Dome system, the first of its kind. David Sling. I can't remember what the other one is. Now they've just added the best air defense in the entire world is in Israel. Okay? What does Japan have? Exactly. Oh, they can, they're right there by China and South Asia, whatever. Okay. And quite frankly, America, go and hang out with the Japs. Didn't you drop 2 bombs on them a few fucking years ago and obliterated them? Didn't they hold your POWs in inhumane conditions in the Second World War? You talk about war crimes. But anyway, that's in the past. But let me carry on with this amazing thing. I'm going to do a video on this. I have to have him talking, and I want to try and see what the fuck. Okay, and quite frankly, I don't give a fuck what Crowder says. Crowder he just goes out to bat for Trump. He is cheerleading for Trump the whole goddamn way. Okay, and that's fine. But I get a little offended when you say things like Japan is more important of an ally than Israel. No, they're not. No, they're not. In terms of security, Israel is your best friend. And I think it's about time Israel started showing its hand to the Americans that they're not the only ones with leverage. You want to betray us or stab us in the back or make deals with Houthis saying don't attack our ships, we won't bomb, but failed to include your ally Israel in on it, and they carried on bombing. And by the way, Israel sorted out the Houthis properly, unlike the Americans who bombed and did fuck all, and whoever else was involved. And when Iran struck first with the after Khania was killed, there were American planes and I think British and I think French that were involved in the defense of Israel. That's true. And of course the Israelis were. The Iron Dome took down most of the rockets, of the missiles and the David Sling and all the rest of it. But Israel was the main one that defended its own country. There were Americans, thank you for that, but Israel's perfectly capable of looking after herself. And you don't have the same with Japan. If China attacked Japan tomorrow, America would have to go and fight against China. They would. They would be obligated to. However, Israel's attacked on 7 fronts. They fight a 7-front war without any American boots on the ground. And they defeat all their enemies. They showed Iran to be an absolute paper tiger when people were saying Iran's the big bad wolf and we don't want to go to war with Iran, we'll lose. And Tucker Carlson said that, by the way. Israel showed them to be so bad and so inadequate. Saber rattling of note that it was comical. They even took out the propaganda radio TV program which shot the blue screen behind this little gnome in a Shiite outfit there and blew up the entire. I mean, that's how close they were. I mean, they were absolutely hammering these guys. They'd taken out all their command. They were taking out all their missiles. They were fucking them up so badly. And then the Americans, to my knowledge, weren't requested by Israel to bomb these sites, but Israel said, look, if you want to bomb them, go for it. Trump wanted in on this incredible operation. And they went in and bombed and took out the nuclear facilities. I think he also wanted to piss off Tucker Carlson and the rest of the work, right, which is great. But that's all the Americans did. They didn't bomb or take out leadership or take out the missiles. That was all Israel. All Israel. And of course, Trump made that stupid statement when Israel was bombed again, and they went back to sort them out, and they had to recall the planes because Trump started throwing his toys out the cot. So, and Netanyahu and the Israelis, they don't want it. They want to be on the right side. So they said, okay, we won't go. Whatever. But Japan's your ally, biggest ally. They've got your back, have they, America? Really? They're sending you information that's saving American lives. They're sending you intelligence, Steven Crowder, that keeps you and your children safe on a regular basis. That why no major terrorist attacks have happened since 9/11, because Israel's giving you intelligence that is worth more than every aircraft carrier you have. But they're not your biggest ally. Okay. I personally feel that Israel should just say, okay, well, we're not really appreciated by these people. They seem to think we just get blank checks and we just get money stuffed in our pockets by the Americans. They're angry because their money going to Israel. Forgetting about all the money that comes straight back into the American economy, makes America better and richer, gives jobs to people in America, thousands and thousands of jobs. So forget all about that. It's the Jews that are taking our money. That wars that America doesn't have to actually fight or come to these terrorists aren't coming to their shores because Israel is destroying them. No, that all goes out the window. Japan, yeah, they're the ones that are the greatest. Well, okay, fine. All right. Israel's got enough on their plate. They don't need to worry about a fucking country that doesn't even know what evil is anymore. That doesn't even know what victory is anymore. And trust me, Americans don't know what victory is anymore. They do not. They don't know what it is. They're young people. Look at what they're doing with their lives. They go to college. They get radicalized. By Qatar, by the way. Another ally of America, Steven Crowder. Okay, they bribed your president, the one you bat for. He stroked his ego, and now he's hanging out with the Qataris. Oh, fine, he can do that. I don't really care. But hang on, you might end up wondering, maybe America needs to be humbled and realize that people like countries like Israel provide way more than you think. And the Americans they don't even know what evil is anymore. They're in your country. They're now becoming the mayor of your biggest city. And I thought, well, America, since Giuliani, New York's gone downhill with mayors. So we haven't tried the jihadist yet. So we've tried the socialist. We've tried the black guy. Let's try out the jihadist. Maybe America's a suck. America's like New York's like a wife that's been abused by a husband but doesn't have the courage to leave the abusive husband. So, yeah, your country's been taken over. You've got people on your streets calling for the death to America, not to mention the Jews in Israel. But they're calling for your country's destruction on your streets. And there have been protests in Israel, but none of them are saying death to Israel and destroy Israel, death to America. None of them are saying that. You know? However, in Qatar they're saying that, in Saudi Arabia they're saying that. And I suspect, I don't know about Japan, but I mean, what is Japan? What, they have trade with you like any other country does, and they're a huge market because they're a lot of them, you know, cars and stuff. I get that, but in terms of intelligence, in terms of actually things that matter, like the fact that you're still alive, I would say Israel is pretty much at the top of that list, wouldn't you? And if Taiwan or Japan got attacked by China, America's got to have to pay the bill, meaning they're going to have to go out there and fight. In Israel's case, no, you didn't fight. You sent an aircraft carrier out there. They are your allies, okay? But I don't remember any. Oh wait, I do remember the floating pier that you provided in Gaza for the express purpose of supplying terrorists with food. And what happened? It got washed away to Ashkelon twice. That was your contribution. And crushing Gazan families with, literally with aid boxes falling on them. And you didn't take responsibility. You see, Israel takes responsibility when they make a mistake. That's why I say I would take Israel's morality over the US's any day of the fucking week, Crowder. And just because you've sold out for Trump, and that's fine, you voted for the fucking asshole, go ahead. But that's the fact. And Israel doesn't have to bow to the whims of Trump if it's in their security interests. And that's my concern, not America's, mine. I don't care about America. You're big and ugly enough to look after yourselves. You've got a huge country. Israel's a strip of land, and their main interests are their security. And that's more important than Japan and hanging out with the fucking emperor or whatever the fuck. It's more important. And no, Japan does not provide more than Israel does. Israel gives you so much more. He brought up, he says, well, Israel sold technology to China. Yeah, so what? Okay. What? Are they only supposed to sell stuff to you, Crowder? After the way you treat them? After the way the Americans have acted like, you know, we're the only thing standing between you and isolation. In many ways they are. Their veto at the UN is very important. But they voted against Israel before, to their detriment. I would say Israel's a sovereign country. They can sell intelligence or they can sell technology to whoever the fuck they want. Douchebag. No one's Israel's not. Well, I'm sure Israel's not happy about you building a Qatari air facility for Air Force pilots to train on your soil. That's Trump, by the way, and is obligated. I don't see protests in the street about this. Obligated to protect Qatar if they are attacked. Your soldiers are going to have to go and fight. No. That's all this. Oh, we die for Israel. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't die for Israel. But for Qatar, you're going to die for Qatar. That doesn't make any sense to me, and it leads me to the conclusion. I'm not calling him an anti-Semite. I would never do that. I don't believe Stephen Crowder is anti-Semitic. I do believe Stephen Crowder is an arrogant fuck. And I do believe Stephen Crowder is not informed. And unfortunately, he has a big platform that influences a lot of young people in America. But, you know, your young people are turning against Israel. It's not going to be to Israel's detriment. It's going to be to the US's. And I personally, I just think, well, you know, we've got so much stuff we need to do. We need to protect our borders. We need to, and relatively have a good life for our people. We don't have time to play these little games and sit on podcasts and talk crap and things about things you know nothing about. We don't have that luxury, sir. We fight for our survival. Our people go and fight in wars, and they do it because they know that they have to protect their country. You people don't even know what your country is anymore. Half your people wouldn't go to war for your country. They've said in a poll, half of them wouldn't even bother. You've got Israelis doing intelligence in Yemen. Young people, younger than Stephen Crowder, younger than these college students. What are Israelis doing? They're going into Yemen intelligence, Mossad. They're running sorties over Iran. They've got people on the ground and he's doing incredible stuff. What are these assholes doing? What is the American youth doing? Hanging out with the groypers and talking to people on college campuses and thinking a man's a woman. If a man says he's a woman, and he can now compete against it. This is the madness that's going on in America. People who have nothing better to do. You're got no war to fight. You're not being invaded. Israel's continuously, yet Israel has all your values. And look how they live. They protect the right of Christians, contrary to what Tucker Carlson says, or that nun with the moustache says. All their sites are protected under Israeli law. You have a right to go there anytime you want to go see your sites, your religious holy sites, and they are protected. And if one guy, a Hasidic rabbi spits on you, it's not a war crime. And just amounts of things that it's the epicenter of the world. Hence the incredible obsession with it. But Japan's your ally. That's important. Japan and with their Japanese wrestling and let's not be. Didn't they do the massaging stuff? All the women. And last I checked, I think, or maybe in Japan back then was, but I distinctly remember in a James Bond film saying. The Japanese guy said, in Japan, men come first, women come second. I don't know, I think it was what they said, but that's not one of your values, America. But, yeah, I just wanted to mention that I'm going to make a proper video with the video that he did. And just talk about the utter nonsense this guy's saying, and it's incredible to me. That this guy could say something like that. And it's almost like a kind of a stick at Israel for some reason, like to say, well, I'm not Israel first, I'm America first. That's my country. But I don't mind them and the Jews over there. But, dude, and that's wasn't his attitude many years ago. He used to be he even wanted to do a change my mind on Israel. And now, since COVID, he's said that Israel sold the world bullshit, so now he's not so keen on Israel. And that's fine, I guess. Yeah. But I have to say, from a betting man, I would bet more on Israel than I would on Japan being your greatest ally, certainly when security is concerned. Because they are not providing you mountains of intelligence. They are not protecting your citizens with the intelligence that they give to your country. I'm sorry, they're not. They're not. Neither is Taiwan. Japan is a formidable adversary, I agree. But they're not Iran and calling for the death of the infidels and all this kind of. It's not the same ball game. It's more a trade war kind of. China's not going to want to go to war with the United States. It's just not in their interests. They're interested in world domination, but through economic means. And that's where America must fight them. But that doesn't make a clear and present danger. It's Israel that's your best ally, your best friend in the world. And if they want to, they can take that away. Okay? And then you're on your own, America. Anyway, I'll make a video about it later. Cheers, guys. Bye.